monsters ever die.
And this monster starts running right at me.
Annihilated by nuclear bombs.
Beast is not dead. I put 4 bullets into him.
Oh, you're crazy.
But I saw that monster too. All I want is for someone to believe me.
Contaminated.
Face. Horrible. Look like it would scare you to death.
All right, let's get to work.
All right, so microwaves.
Microwaves?
Something everybody has microwaves. Microwave.
Yeah.
We all have them, and those aren't the things I'm talking about. So, background microwave radiation from the universe. People have heard about it, or I'm sure you've heard somebody mention if you watched any like show on, how the universe was formed, things like that. Background microwave radiation. But what I never understood was, okay, so background microwave radiation is left over from the Big Bang.
Yeah.
The thing I was missing was, okay, so I don't understand. How does the Big Bang make this ever-present background microwave radiation? So turns out when light moves through a gaseous cloud like the beginning of the universe or the sun, right? Like the sun looks solid, but obviously besides the burning to death by trying to put your arm through it, it's not solid, right? It's not.
It's a ball of gas.
It's not a solid thing. Yeah, but the reason it glows is because every time an electron gets in the way of a light wave, it diverts it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shoots it all over the place, and then bounce off another one, and so it takes forever for, I can't remember, it's thousands of years for light to escape from the middle of the sun out to the chronosphere, the outside of it. Okay, so the color of light, when produced from fusion reactions like that, the light is actually directly related to the temperature that it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, light somewhere, red shifted is somewhere in the 20,000 degree range. Ultraviolet is somewhere in the like 50,000 degree range, right? So, the initial light, the initial burn from the Big Bang was somewhere down in the red, somewhere around 1,000 degrees. The cooling between then and now, the universe is about 3 degrees, generally, out in the space. And it turns out that 3 degrees corresponds to microwave radiation. So as you move down the scale of electromagnetic radiation, right? Gamma waves way up at the top at super high energy, down through other stuff that I don't remember the name of, most people don't interact with, down to light waves, and then down under light waves you have above light is infrared, below light is ultraviolet. Infrared is below. Okay, infrared.
Yeah.
And then you move down into microwave radiation. So as the universe cools, it will actually turn into other radiation eventually, because it's about the heat and excitation of the electrons, and therefore how much light can pass through and in what wavelength it passes through. So now it's down into microwave radiation. And for those of us that grew up with a TV that had a dial, right? Yeah. Whenever you put the dial in between channels, you get static. I think it's something like 3% of that static is you're actually seeing the background microwave radiation of the universe.
Cool.
But that is what I learned on Star Talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson, because somebody asked him, they're like, okay, so I've heard about background microwave radiation, and then it has something to do with the Big Bang. Like, I get that you're using that to measure it and that it's everywhere and that it's there because of, but like, did it just put out a bunch of microwaves? Like, tell me how it worked. And so he explained how it worked, and I'm a science nerd, and I had, of all the shows that I've seen that explain, the formation of the universe, nobody ever clued in that point.
Right.
The why. The why was, a big explosion of light now is microwaves. Nobody ever made that connection for me.
Wait,
I had no idea. Why?
It's why? ASL for why?
Why? I was just doing my hand
that's ASL for why. the letter Y.
The letter Y.
Yeah.
So that was, I happened to tune into it, because you were telling me I should watch it,
Oh,
and he was doing a
yeah.
Q&A
Yeah.
Q&A from Facebook, and it was very good.
Cosmic Queries. Gosh, that man's voice is golden. Oh my
And
god.
at the end, remember everyone, keep looking up.
Yeah.
It's like, so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Beyond the Shadows is just we'll never touch that level of awesomeness with our silly little podcast.
No, unfortunately. we try to make up for it in humor.
We do, which we don't have a lot of. We try, while we're talking about awesome podcasts, I want to plug This Paranormal Life. Shout out to Kit and Rory of This Paranormal Life. Those were the guys that brought me back out of my I'm done podcasting shell. Fantastic podcast, This Paranormal Life. Go check them out. Hilarious comedy paranormal investigators. Hands down my favorite podcast every year. I actually listened to this week's episode today while I was painting my staircase. So, it's so good. Yeah, give us a shout. Kit and Rory, talking to you. Give us a shout. Neil deGrasse Tyson. We said this last week. Neil deGrasse Tyson, give us a shout, guy. Hey, I'm in Virginia. Come by. I was telling somebody the other day, I was like, I called out Neil deGrasse Tyson on the podcast. I was like, have him come on to the show. Like, fuck, you don't have to talk about science. You talk about science with everybody. Just shoot the shit like we're one of your old homeboys. Talk about anything other than science for once. Come over and have some coffee. I don't even want to pick your brain. I just want to sit down and talk to the guy.
Yeah, I want to know, like, when he's not doing awesome science commentary and super cool documentaries and symposiums and college appearances and teaching. I mean, I don't know how much time's left after all that, but
what does he do? Yeah.
Yeah, what does he do? Does he like dogs? Does he have a dog? Is he a dog person?
I don't know.
I know, these are the hard-hitting questions that I want answers to. Like mac and cheese.
Every now and again, just like
cheese.
Just like mac and cheese. What? How did mac and cheese tie into that?
If I want to know, the people things about him. Like, does he like mac and cheese? Does he keep a dog? Does he is he a Pepsi or a Coke guy? Like, does he always have ice with his water, or is he like cool with just straight out of the tap, or does he have to have it like out of the fridge?
I will say,
these are the things that I want to know.
I do feel like he's a very open-minded individual. I listened to one episode where he was talking to a guy who's doing extensive studies on LSD and DMT.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "Do you want a dose?" he's like, "I can bring you in the study."
Oh, nice. Nice.
He's like, "It's totally legal, totally legit. It's fine." He goes, "It'll be under control." So he was like, "I would really need to see some science behind it, some long term." He was like, "I understand that like people are like, yeah, I did DMT and it was mind bending and it opened my eyes." He's like, "But I need to see if like long term, if that's going to affect anything with the brain, because this is my thing and I can't risk it." He's like,
"Hey, tap your mic real quick. You're kind of quiet."
I am.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. I'm wondering if it was out of.
Yeah,
sorts.
that's better.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, it's better.
I was looking at levels on OBS. It seemed like it was fine. I am probably a little quiet because I am a little under the weather this week. But
yes, Victus has been sick all week.
Yes. I'm going to let me see if I can turn up my microphone just a little bit.
And then you can edit this out and we can just tie right back into the thing you were talking about.
Oops. Yeah, I'm going to edit that out. There we go. Yeah, I don't think it's going to get much better.
No, that's good. That's better than it was.
Yeah. Yes.
I think it's a little far away from you. That's what it is.
It's a little far away. Is this better?
Yeah, that's much better.
Okay. I was actually speaking softly as well. But yes, I was sick this week, and today's the first day I was actually able to get up and do some stuff. I did some things around the house for the first time in 5 days, got out of bed. So I'm looking a little rough. I sound a little rough, so bear with me. But we're going to make this shit happen. We totally missed the intro. Welcome, everybody. This is Beyond the Shadows podcast. I am Victus.
I'm Aeon.
And this week we were talking about the Ariel School UFO Incident. Crazy little story out of the 90s. In a nutshell, UFO touchdown outside of a school in 1994 while the kids were all outside playing.
Oh, dun dun dun.
Beep, bop, beep. So I am going to play a little bit with the format this week. Now that you mention it, my levels do look a little low.
Dude, you're still pretty quiet.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Let me... Damn it. I'm wondering.
That's much better.
Is it okay? Is it
Yeah, it's much better.
too loud?
No.
All right. I may have actually
It may be down a scotch.
bumped a button or something. How about that? That sound better?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay. I may have actually bumped some buttons because the way it's sitting, we've mentioned this before. I have 3 computers in front of me. So I have a desk, a big desk. My laptop sits on the desk. 2 monitors from 2 desktop computers in front of me. But I have the mixer for the microphone is sitting on the desk. But when I put the laptop on the desk, I think I may have actually bumped some of the knobs with the laptop. I have a very large laptop, so very likely, in all likelihood, I may have bumped some knobs or something. But, yeah, so I said it last week. I went ahead and got it. I want to believe poster.
The poster.
I'm very happy with this. It's really, I'm fucking jazzed. Again, shout out to Kit and Rory at This Paranormal Life. Got me on the bandwagon of wanting cool shit with that have to do with the podcast in the background. They have a whole conspiracy wall in the background of their podcast. It's like a huge bulletin board with like red string and thumbtacks connecting all over, and it's a really cool little thing. I don't watch a lot of their stuff on YouTube because I don't have time to just sit around and watch YouTube, but I get the gist of it. It's fun. I think they just put up some stuff for some recently unclassified documents. They printed off an entire document, and they've got some stuff on the bulletin board now. Which
that's cool.
Let me go on a little bit of a tangent right quick. Hold on. So did you know this would have made a great opener? The United States government actually has a contingency for a zombie apocalypse.
I think I did know that. I don't know what it is, but I believe I heard that and was like, it sounds like something they'd do just in case.
I think we've talked about it.
Okay.
Many years ago. But yeah, there's actual I don't know, like, I couldn't give you like numbers of a file to look up.
Mm-hmm.
But full contingencies, what to do if a zombie apocalypse happens. And I did read a little bit of it. And my favorite section of this contingency plan is what to do in case of zombie chickens. Yeah.
Nice.
Yes, it's actually the government took time, paid somebody money, and took time to figure out what to do in case of zombie chickens.
To think tank zombie chicken. Did you still have your zombie survival guide?
Oh yeah. Yes.
I still have a copy.
In case you people didn't know, this is the the rifle crossed with the machete is the cover of the zombie survival guide. I am a hardcore zombie fanatic. I am the guy that when shit hits the fan, you come find me. We will survive.
Yeah, we are fully ready and have plans in place.
Oh yeah.
If I lived in the same town as Victus, I would already know where to find him within the first hour of like on the news. Yes, it's zombies or the first brain that he sees getting eaten. I already know where he's gonna be.
Yeah.
Also, my only thing is I don't know which place you would pick as a holdup. Are you a get out of towner, or are you a supply hoarder?
I'm a hoarder, hands down. I would I would hunker down where I'm at for now, feel the situation out, and there's a couple contingencies I would take into, I would, if shit got hairy, I would move my way out of town a little bit. I know some places I can bug out to here, but I'm near the ocean.
Yeah, on a peninsula.
Yeah, so realistically, we're probably a little safer than most places right here.
So my plan here is, at least in the short term, would be fill both SUVs that we have after raiding the store for food, and there are 3 mega houseboats out on the lake here, like mega, like bigger than my 3-bedroom house I used to have, like in college, that I had like 2 other roommates with.
Yeah.
Bigger than that, on the water. I know between the automotive stuff that I've done and the age of those boats, there is no way I cannot dry start those things and get them off the dock, right? Get them out away from the dock. Yeah. And I'm not like talking like I want to cruise around. You get it off the shore. It has a radio. It's a boat.
Yeah.
It's gonna have a radio. Get it off the shore and then chill out for a bit while you figure out what is going on.
Yeah.
That would be my first plan. Especially if everybody's running around being crazy.
I mean, I've already got stuff in place here. I mean, I've got my entire property's fenced off, and everything's practically on solar power now anyway, but that's another episode. Tangent. Holy tangent, Batman. 17 minutes in, we haven't even talked about a UFO yet. So, we got some good stuff for you this week. This is, without a doubt, Africa's most heavily documented and experienced UFO phenomenon. More people have seen this specific thing that happened than anything else in the history of Africa relating to UFOs and aliens.
So I had heard about this one, whereas I had not heard of the Phoenix Lights. When you said you wanted to do the Phoenix Lights, I had heard somebody tell me about this one.
Yeah, this one...
no one had ever mentioned the Phoenix Lights to me, even though probably more people actually saw at the time the event of the Phoenix Lights, because it was all the Phoenix.
Yeah, definitely more people saw Phoenix Lights. This one, I think around 200 people saw this, which a drop in a bucket compared to the Phoenix Lights. But this was, in a nutshell, group of kids are outside playing at the playground during recess. Teachers are inside because they're having a meeting. UFO lands.
Like right in the yard.
Yeah. I seen some maps saying that they were around 200 feet away. But then I've seen some where they're further away. So I'm guessing somewhere between 200 and 500 feet away from where the children were playing is where this UFO lands.
Pretty close.
So
that's shorter than a football field.
I broke down this week's episode in time because
good.
It's good to know what happened in the time frame, I think.
Yeah. It helps you organize a picture in your head.
Right. So the Ariel School UFO Incident is a well-documented event that took place on September 16, 1994 at the Ariel School in Ruwa, Zimbabwe. I'm probably horribly mispronouncing this name. Ruwa, R-U-W-A. During the morning break, a group of around 62 school children reported seeing one or more silver objects in the sky and on the ground. The children described seeing beings associated with these objects, which they described as having large eyes, wearing tight-fitting black clothing. And here is a detailed breakdown of these events as they were reported. Are you ready to take this trip?
I am so ready. It has been all I could do not to go and like sneak looks on the internet between last week and this week after you told me, and I already knew that I had heard about it. I was like, nope.
Yeah. I really wanted to. So, if y'all are listening, and this is episode 7, we're still playing with the format a little bit, trying to see what works best. I have found personally, fully writing out a script does not work that well. Me just sitting here reading is kind of boring. So, I gave myself some loose bullet points. Excuse me. And this week, I'm doing a time-based bullet points. And hopefully this will stimulate conversation. And if not, we do have some evidence this week. We have a few photos of drawings that the children have made. And we have
I like evidence.
We have the original 1994 news interview with the children.
Oh, we have drawings of the children's made?
Yes.
Oh, that'll be good. That'll be good.
So
I like that.
So, a little anticipation for you. What's coming? We've got drawings the children made, 3 of them, I think, and then we have the full 8-minute interview from a local news station in Africa from the 90s that they interviewed the children.
Okay.
So we have the actual children that saw the UFO being interviewed
in the interview.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be good.
So this should be good. This should be real good. So around 10 a.m. local time, school break begins. The children are out in their mid-morning break playing outside in the school grounds. So about what you'd expect. Just a group of kids. They're outside playing. I think the majority of them were playing soccer. This is Africa in the 90s, so soccer was a big thing. Rugby was a big thing. I'm sure they were doing one or the other. Schools in Africa.
10 a.m., right?
10 a.m.
I'm going to draw this out for myself.
Okay, legit.
Keep going.
Sorry. I need liquids. Very dry. All right. Kids are outside. So this is somewhere around, what did I say? 60. There's about 60, 62 to 74. It was hard to find a solid number. It seemed like every article I read came up with a different number of kids.
Right.
62 was the most consistent number, so I'm just going to stick with 62. So 62 of these kids are outside. From what I understand is like the teachers were in like an administrative meeting.
Okay.
But they still wanted to do school that day. So when they went and did like their recess break, that's when they did the administrative meeting.
Okay.
So all the teachers are inside. So all of the children are outside. And if I understand this correctly, it's not like you would think a school here in America would be. It's like
I'm sure it's not.
It's like little kids plus like early teenager kids at the same time.
Right. It's all the grades in a single sort of schoolhouse thing.
Right. So
yeah,
62 children, all different varying ages. And at 10:15 a.m. is the initial sighting. Some of the children notice a bright, shiny object in the sky, and they described it as a silver disc-shaped object that descends and lands in a brushy area just outside the school perimeter. So, the map that I saw, I had a hard time tracking down like the actual photo of this map. I pull it up. I use it as a reference in my brain, but it's like the kids were playing in this rugby field or soccer field, and one looks up and sees some silver object, and it's like, hey, look at this. So all the kids gather around, start watching it, and that's when they notice that there's one on the ground already.
Oh,
in the bushes.
you mean because they looked that direction?
Yes.
Okay, so the one in the bushes is in the same direction as the one in the sky,
Yes.
just below it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm already getting chills. So these kids seeing this silver object in the sky, they see in the bushes just at the edge of the field. So imagine like a regular, an area cleared for playing soccer, what have you. At the edge of the field, you'd get 15, 20 feet, and then there'll be like a tree line or whatever.
Okay.
So right there at the edge of the field is when they see the other object. Already,
Is it behind the brush or it's actually on the edge of the field?
some reports say that they see it landing. Some reports say that when they looked, it was already landed, but they see it in the brush.
In the brush. Okay.
Yes, not in the field, but in the brush.
Okay.
So, 15 minutes have elapsed.
Yep.
So 10:20 a.m. approach of the object. The children move closer to the boundary of the school to get a better view. They see two or more beings emerge from the object. These beings are described as having large, black, almond-shaped eyes and are about 1 meter, 3 foot tall.
Okay.
So we're talking grays.
Mm-hmm.
These are the grays.
The little grays. Yeah.
They say that they see. This is where things start to get a little choppy because you're dealing with kids.
Mm-hmm. Excited kids.
Right. Some kids say that they see him standing on top of the UFO. Some say that they're seeing 2 or 3 milling about in the trees and poking around in the bushes. Some say that they see through the windows dudes standing in the UFOs. But they all describe the same thing. So
The same ship, you mean?
the same ship. They describe
Gotcha.
all of these aliens as looking the same. I think that.
Oh, I see.
I think there was one that just was like way off the beaten path. Like, no, it was a praying mantis. But I think that kid was just, I didn't see shit, but I just want everybody to feel like I'm involved. So, 3 foot tall. Yeah. So we're talking about your standard gray, except these guys are wearing tight-fitting black clothing. So the way they described it, it's like a jumpsuit, but there were no seams.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So about what you'd expect, in the 1950s, what you would expect an alien to be wearing.
Right, except black instead of sparkly silver.
Yeah. The long, spindly fingers. I am Klaxor. Beepity beepity beep. All I can think about is that what was that scary movie with Leslie Nielsen where they were ripping off signs
Oh.
and all the aliens show up at the end,
Yeah.
and they were doing something happened, like he kicked him in the nuts or something, and he's like, "Oh, that's how we say hello," and he turns around and kicks his
Oh,
buddy.
yeah, that's right.
He's like, and the whole time the alien's over there, and he's got his fingers in Leslie Nielsen's mouth, and he's like, "You think that's strange? You should see how we pee." And he goes, "Whoop," and the pee comes out the end of his finger. And he's like,
after you've had it in her mouth. Oh my god.
That scene lives rent free in my head, constantly. You think that's strange? You should see how we pee. Whoop. Practical effects. They'll never get old. All right. So 5 minutes later, 10:25 a.m. Interaction with the beings. The beings are observed moving around the area where the object had landed.
Wait, what time?
10:25 a.m.
What time? 10:25. Okay.
Yeah. The beings are observed moving around the area where the object landed. Some children report telepathic communications, receiving messages about the environmental concerns and future of the Earth. So this is a consistency. A lot of cases that involve aliens and UFOs, where contact is made between an alien and a human. I say alien, I mean extraterrestrial. Excuse me.
Right.
It seems like the people that have the most contact with extraterrestrials are always like, yeah, I've been talking to this person from the planet Klaxor for 7 years now, and they keep telling us to, stop building nuclear weapons, or we need to stop burning fossil fuels, or we need to reverse the damage we've done to the planet because we're destroying the planet. This is a consistency in just about every alien and UFO encounter that you could think of.
So that's true also of the folks that where people in past life regressions have encounters, in past lives encounters with extraterrestrials or other beings. They're always very concerned about what we're doing to the planet.
Yeah. And
some of them weirdly have past lives as other types of beings. It's much less common, but it's a common thread. It's just it's less it happens less often. But they always talk about being on these planets where that sort of thing, things like pollution and that sort of thing, they've already moved past it.
Yeah.
Like fossil fuels and stripping the earth and stuff like that.
Right.
They've already moved past it.
Yeah, it's get yourself a bucket full of UFO and alien encounters, and scoop you out a handful, and odds are a good majority of those handfuls in your hand is somebody's gonna be like, yeah, I've been talking to them and they're telling me to stop killing the planet. This is the message we're bringing to you. Very consistent. Yes. But here's the kicker, and this is my favorite thing about it. This is 1994.
Oh, right.
And these are kids in Africa that are saying it.
So global warming wouldn't have been a topic of discussion for them.
No, not really. And really not even like nuclear stuff, because that was another thing that gets brought up is with extraterrestrial encounters is like, you stop using nuclear weapons, you're just going to destroy your planet.
Right.
That would probably be the only thing these kids would know, because, surely in their school they talk about, the atomic bomb. But
one would assume, but maybe not.
I think that would be the extent of the only piece of information that they would have that would tie in, that they would be given that would tie into these extraterrestrial encounters. So I don't know if they're making that up, where they got it from. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, their general content wouldn't encompass a lot of that. Is what you're saying.
It's not like they just jumped on, I guess it would have been AIM at the time. Oh, AIM. AOL Instant Messenger. It's not like they jumped on, AOL and Googled, what are
right. Yeah, access to information was much less. It wasn't near as easy or prolific, for sure.
And so this piece of information is one of my favorite pieces because kind of in an isolation chamber.
Yeah.
So, and these are kids. You'll see later when we get to looking at this video, these are kids, man. Unless there's somebody at this school telling these kids what to say.
Right.
Which is possible, but again, this is 94 in Africa.
Yeah, it's possible, but I guess there's a lot of holes for me because I don't know what the social implications are of saying things like this. I don't know if there's a whole lot of excitement over, UFOs previous to this.
In Africa, almost none.
Well, I assume that they've watched some American movies, right? So, is there a whole lot of hype about UFO stuff? Because if you get, American movies, even popular or unpopular, you're gonna come across, if you're a big consumer of American stuff,
Yeah.
which I'm sure is there weren't a lot of movies being produced there locally, you're gonna get some UFO alien stuff. I mean, especially in the 90s, man, a lot of movies were about encounters in it. But that's what I'm saying. I wonder if any of that is really all that big of a meme for them.
Right.
It does it matter that much, or is it just an interesting show that Americans made, or are they like us, where people see those movies and they're like, oh, that could be true? Like, I don't know the cultural feel there.
Right. And
I have no idea.
something else
It's hard for me to say.
something else to take into account is the age difference between some of these kids.
Right.
So imagine like a middle school kid is not really going to be hanging out with an elementary age school kid. They were there,
Right.
but these kids, despite their age gap, all had the same story.
Mm-hmm. Although I wonder, in a one-room school, like a condensed schooling like that, I wonder if the social dynamic. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of social dynamics that are almost exactly the same as us going to school. Like, older brothers don't want their little sister hanging out with them while they're trying to hang out with the guys. Like, I'm sure that's not any different, but I don't know as far as, friends across age gaps. I have no idea. I mean, this whole situation is so far outside of my worldview. I have no idea.
Right. There's a lot of details, admittedly, that I don't have. It is hard to find stuff like that. Like, I couldn't tell you a social dynamic setting of a school from 1994 in Africa.
Right. I mean, I don't know that it mattered. I'm just saying, that the stuff that motivate us, I'm sure is a little bit different. And what I mean when I say that is, I find this almost more believable, than a school like this reported it in America.
Yeah.
Because we definitely have a fever for it, and kids in America grow up on fantasy. I mean, I did, you did.
Yeah.
Though it's never led me to be like, oh, that thing that moved past the trees was a UFO. Right. I'm still a skeptic anyway. But I find this somehow more believable because, again, also it's, they're not in, like, if I remember right, it's not like a heavily populated area. It's not like they could just go over to the news station, like, easily.
Yeah. That's
like just go down a couple blocks. Like, here, I know right where the news station is. It's like 5 blocks, 6 blocks.
Yeah.
To where they're doing it, or pick up the phone or whatever, if I wanted to tell a story like this. So they also probably had to go quite a ways out of their way to even talk about it.
Yeah. The news video we're going to see later is actually BBC. So
okay.
So locally there was no reporting.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so even more so.
But enough talk happened that somebody from BBC came over to Africa and interviewed these kids.
Wow.
So
that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Okay, so we were at telepathic communication.
Yes. We're at 10:25. The beings observed were moving around the area where the object landed. Some children reported telepathic communication, receiving messages about environmental concerns and the future of the Earth. 10:30 a.m. Retreat of the beings. The beings return to the object, which then ascends into the sky and disappears.
So it's only 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Huh. And so none of the adults ever came out and saw this while it was happening.
I think some reports. I remember hearing something about, like, okay, so there was a lot of shit going on. So imagine a group of 62 kids freaking out because a fucking UFO just landed.
Right.
They're gonna make some clatter.
Right.
Someone's gonna look outside.
Right.
And surely, kids of that age, which you'll see later how young they are, kids of that age not all of them are going to just be like, oh, this is really curious. Look, it's an alien or a UFO. Some are just going to freak the fuck out, man.
Yeah.
Between 62 of them, yeah, you better believe it. Some of them are freaking out. So there are reports that like some teachers went to the window and saw something, but by the time they made it outside, everything was gone, and there was just a puddle of kids freaking out.
Okay. Okay.
So 10:35, 5 minutes later, the children are in shock. Some are crying, and they quickly run back to the main school area to tell teachers what they've witnessed. So the oh shit is set in. 5 minutes later, 10:40 a.m., the teachers initially dismissed the children's stories, thinking it's a prank or overactive imaginations. But
So they don't believe.
they don't believe me. Yeah, surprise. I mean, if it were me, that many kids telling me this, they saw something land like that, you know, I would have been like, fuck, close the school. Let's get the hell out of here.
You know, I mean, maybe kids are jerks everywhere. You know, saying crazy stuff to their teachers to mess with them. I mean, I don't know. UFO's a little outside of what I would have done, but I did plenty of things to mess with my teachers. I'm sure kids are jerks everywhere.
11 a.m. This is 20 minutes after the teachers blew off these fucking kids. More children come forward with consistent descriptions of the event, prompting the teachers to take the matter more seriously. The headmaster, Colin Mackey, is informed, and he begins to gather children to hear their accounts. So, in the span of 20 minutes, dealing with adults, them saying, oh, you're just being children.
Right.
It escalated so quickly that the headmaster of the school was like, okay, something had to have happened. And so he starts sitting down and talking with individual students, getting all their accounts. I think he actually fills several notebooks that he later published into a book.
Oh, wow.
And that's where we get a lot of
Their accounts?
Yeah, I think this is where we get a lot of the drawings from.
Okay.
Because what he was doing was he was interviewing these kids, because there was no way in an official capacity that they could interview these kids effectively. So I want to say I heard something in reporting where he was like an investigator somewhere, or he's got a background with it.
Oh, for something else.
So he knew like good protocol when it came to investigation. So he was like, okay,
write it down.
We're going to get individual kids in here, not as a group. And I'm going to sit down and they're going to describe what they saw. They're going to draw what they saw, and then isolate him from the rest of them. Bring the next one in, do the same thing. So that way.
So before the stories cross-pollinate too much.
Yeah. So he did his due diligence kicked in. You know, kudos to this headmaster. Cool. He was able to verify a lot of information because of this. So by 11:30 a.m., the headmaster, along with some teachers, inspects the area where the children said the object landed, but found no immediate evidence of disturbance or landing traces.
So they didn't see anything in the brush. They didn't see like bent over trees, bent over grass, nothing.
No, I feel like there were reports of like depressions where landing gear would have been.
Mm-hmm.
But I know so many UFO cases. I feel like they're bleeding together a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that.
I feel like there were reports of like something was like, that could be, a UFO foot came down and smooshed to this, but
right.
I don't think there was anything conclusive.
But I mean, the grass was laid out. It wasn't.
No, it wasn't like a crop circle was left. Not like.
Yeah, none of the electromagnetic stuff that they claim from crop circles and that sort of thing.
No, it would have been really nice
like
to have.
static.
Yeah. It would have
Yeah.
been really nice to have just like a flattened area with the, a Polaroid of the aliens.
An impression of the ground that looks like a big inverted nipple
From
from the saucer landing.
a Polaroid of the aliens doing a selfie with the school in the background.
Given the one of them's giving the shocker.
What's up?
What's up?
You think that's strange? You should see how we pee.
I've been seeing so much stuff of Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman promoting Deadpool, like them on. They were on Ozzy Man.
Yeah,
you know who Ozzy Man is. So they were on Ozzy Man and some other stuff, and the most recent one I saw was just Hugh Jackman somewhere, like not in makeup, still a little jacked from the movie, but definitely, obviously not still in the workout routine. He's just like doing this. I'm like, there's nobody around. It's him, there's a car, and then there's some town. He's like,
you didn't even know, bro.
Just throwing the shocker. Oh my god.
God bless you, Hugh Jackman.
All right, so no
disturbance or landing traces.
Yeah, nothing definitive anyway.
So this is where our time-based timeline breaks down. We start to space out, and things get, they wrap up quick, but we don't have much in a way of timestamps from here on out.
Okay, that makes sense.
So the incident attracts.
How did also, first of all, do these kids have watches?
Watches?
Yeah, how do they have these, like, by the 5-minute increment, like, breakdown of how long this took? Or was it just that the teachers were in the meeting that long? Like, how do they have this such a timeline?
I feel like the timeline was probably built by the headmaster. Because he seemed to be the only one with any type of investigation background.
Based on when they kicked him out the door and when they finally heard the first kid comes and talks to him.
There were reports that there was so much distress that they ended up canceling school for like 4 days. Like kids were.
Because the kids didn't want to come back?
Yeah,
or?
Kids were shook.
Oh, okay.
Nightmares. Like I think that there was even like 2 or 3 kids had to go to therapy.
Okay, that's convincing. That's convincing.
It's hard.
Any of them with PTSD from it?
It's hard to nail down specific information or stuff like that. But, I remember hearing other reporting from other investigators that the school definitely did shut down later. I think the extent was only like 3 or 4 days, but it was enough that these kids, like I think 1 or 2 of them were interviewed like 20 years later, and they were still fucked up about it.
Really?
Yeah. They're like,
no.
They're like, you don't have to believe me. I know what I saw. I know my truth. I know my truth.
Right. Now I know what I know. The first thing that naysayers are going to go to, right? Because I'm trying to think in that vein, and so they're going to be like, well, the kids played a prank. They got a big response. They closed the school that day, so then they just kept it up so that they didn't have to go to school. But here's something I do know about rural schools in Africa. Small piece. I don't know about this one, but many of them are run by missionaries. Often, the school is a source of clothing, food, and water for the children. Often, the incentives to get them to come all the time are a ration of said things.
Yeah.
School is a nice place for those kids versus the sort of manual labor and stuff that they would be doing with their parents.
Okay.
So often the kids are highly motivated to go to the school as opposed to, over here where we're like trying to find reasons to skip out.
I hate to say it this way, but I think it needs to be said in the spirit of clarity and perhaps understanding in the story. Take a little vape. I don't want this to sound the worst thing to say before a statement is I don't want this to sound race related.
Right.
I'm not trying to sound like a bad guy. This is not what you think like Africa. This is not like in the bush. I hate to put it in this box, but this is white Africa.
Oh, when you said small school and like
It is
all the grades were together, I was imagining all the schools that I see when they're like donate $1.
Yeah, that's
But it's like a tin roof cement building, but tin roof. They have desks and chairs, no AC, and you have, all the classes sort of in one big room, but like split up into 4 or however they're doing it.
No, this is a white Africa school. I really hate that I had to put it. I think it does lend to some, complements the story a little bit.
No, that's a good distinction to make because of, like, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but all this, whenever they're building schools in Africa,
Yeah.
like whenever I see like charities that are building schools in Africa, like it's not. I mean, it's a hard place. Like the place where they're building it there because nobody else will, and it's a hard place, and nobody's going to educate these kids unless somebody builds one there. So when you said small school, all the grades are mixed together, and it's 60 students might have been all the kids. Like, yeah, of course that's what I'm imagining, right? Rough place, a village, only cement building in the whole village. That's what I'm imagining. So it's a distinction worth making.
Yeah, I hate that I had to put it like that, but it's a good clear cut way to put it. I'm gonna Google this. I want to see what this area looks like. Ruwa, Zimbabwe. I'm gonna pull it up on Google Maps. Oh. Okay, let me switch to satellite view. I lost it already. Wow, very densely populated.
So that brings up another interesting question. If it is densely, see, this is why I thought this is also the thing that made me think it was a small school like I've described, is because one, you're saying it's ringed by, bush, but also that these kids were the only ones that saw this, and then that there's no local news station, and then that it was BBC that finally picked it up, makes me think it's pretty remote, or at least not highly developed.
Ruwa, Zimbabwe.
Yeah, I mean
So it's here.
That's a dense city, though. That's mostly zoom in on what looks like houses.
Let me see if we could find this school. Ariel School.
Because that doesn't look like. I mean, it's a big spread out population, but that doesn't look like a city top down like you would think of over here for sure.
Let's see if we can find the school.
Because those are dirt roads in the city.
There we go.
Did you find it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean it's not.
Okay,
it's
so,
outside the city.
Yeah, this is a little outside compared to what it was.
Okay, that's why nobody saw it. But it is quite a few buildings. I mean, the main building is.
Ah, here we go. Yeah. Okay, so this is the map that I was looking at earlier. So So here's where the kids were. Let me get rid of
kind
this.
of a soccer field.
Yeah, this is where the kids were, right here. And here's where the UFO landed.
Oh, okay. So like over near some trees and stuff.
Yeah, it's not like.
Okay, not quite what I was picturing.
Yeah, it's. Yeah, dirt roads. This isn't really. This is recent too. Dirt roads, not a very.
Yeah, this is. Not, I wonder. Take it back 30 years.
Yeah, 'cause look over
What
here.
did that look like?
I think we Yeah, we could roll back a little bit.
Because that's what I'm saying. Like, take this back 30 years. What did it look like? Also, there was no Google Map in the night.
Yeah. So honestly, I don't imagine a lot of this has been, changed too much since then. Oh, look. Ruwa
What, is
UFO.
it marked? No, it's marked on the map. Ruwa UFO landing. So that's the school.
Yeah, it must have changed.
That's the original school.
Yeah.
I'll bet that's the original school or the original building. Yeah, so not too far off from what I was imagining. It's pretty rural and it's outside the school. That's funny. It's got it marked on Google Maps.
It's got a 5-star 12 5-star reviews.
Oh, well, I mean, must be a good piece of grass.
Let's read these reviews. Let's get into it.
We believe you.
We believe you. We believe you and your experiences about aliens. The only reason that people don't believe us about aliens is because they are more advanced than us and they don't leave any evidence behind rather than showing up. We are not alone in the universe. 3 months ago. Great documentary.
Persistent.
Yeah, really? I noticed someone tagged this location as a spot where the children saw the UFO. We believe you. Wow. Excellent Netflix documentary.
Oh, so there's a whole Netflix documentary.
Yeah, there's apparently a couple years ago there was a movie. So
really?
I imagine that's why there's a lot of recent stuff. Look at that 5-star review a day ago.
Yeah, so definitely Netflix is doing a lot to keep it in the popular consciousness.
Kudos. This is surprising. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I didn't expect to find a pin drop on Google.
Yeah, that's
for UFOs.
Okay. Yeah, this makes sense now. See, look here. This is where they would have been playing.
Right, and then it's over there.
And
Got
then
it.
there's where it landed. Cool, man.
That makes sense. Also, now I want to search Google for UFO pin drops.
Yeah, we could do a whole episode about Google Maps, man.
Yeah.
It really wouldn't be difficult.
My favorite stuff is the stuff people find on Google Maps and they're like, look, I found this secret thing. And rarely is it a secret.
You seen the thing where
It's something they've never seen before.
I don't know if it's like edited photos or what have you, but it looks like Godzilla in the water. I'll go down this rabbit hole. Hold on.
I did see one recently that was out in the desert. Dude was posting, it was out in the desert, and the photo looks like kind of like a Millennium Falcon like blacked out area on the ground. And then around it, he's not wrong. Around it, there's about 10 or 15 tanks. In like sort of a circular crescent formation around this, like what looks like an elongated Millennium Falcon black spot there. But if you look at the photo very closely, it appears to be a water reservoir that the two side parts appear to be ramps for some sort of watered vehicle to drive that in, or for you to be able to take water from it and then drive back out.
Oh.
Yeah, but it is, I mean, when you first come across it, you don't get in, all the way down. It's super freaky, but it looks like it's a depot or a firing range.
Oh.
Like to fire on those tanks.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. Because they do not look like there's no recent tracks going to where they're at.
Oh, yeah.
And you can see other tracks, but you don't see any tank tracks. Like they've been there for a while.
Yeah.
So it looks like it was somewhere in New Mexico, but I'm like, oh, it's in New Mexico, and you found tanks that look like they haven't moved in forever. You know how many live fire ranges there are for the U.S. military out in New Mexico? I was like, I think you just dropped onto a live fire range that they don't have blacked out.
There you go. Let's see. I'll pull this up.
Also, one of the biggest shames of Google was when they limited how far you can zoom in.
Oh, yeah.
Because you used to be able to see what people were having dinner on the table outside. And people got freaked out about that. and they limited how far in you can zoom, or the resolution on, even when you zoom in all the way, they've limited the resolution. But the truth is, the satellites they have, you could actually see what's on somebody's plate outside if they're out on their back deck.
Yeah.
Because the same cameras that they use for Google Maps, part of what funded getting those cameras up in the air originally, since you had to have the U.S. government launch them at the time when they put up the first ones, is those same satellites. The U.S. government has first rights to time and hours on them. So at any given moment when they're shooting, Google Earth pictures, the U.S. can commandeer the satellite. They pay them,
Right.
but they can commandeer it on a second's notice and use it to track somebody, reallocate it to somewhere else as an agreement to putting it up in the first place.
Oh, well, yeah.
So it does belong to Google, and Google, built the satellite. U.S. government launches it for them, with the understanding that anytime they need to reallocate the satellite, they can. Now, anyone else can also buy time on those same satellites.
Right.
It's very expensive, but they just allocate, and they just budget the money over once, based on how many minutes they use it, and then they get to have it back. So that's the dark side of all these all this imaging of the planet, at least by U.S. companies. Generally, they also are direct access to the U.S. government, because it's a cheap middle ground to putting up a shitload of our own spy satellites.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Plus better tech.
Oh yeah.
Better tech. The stuff they roll out for U.S. government. Oops.
I am sorry.
It's always. Oh, is that the Godzilla in the water
Yeah,
thing?
I'm sorry. I didn't realize that was gonna be full fucking blast. Damn. I'm just gonna. No sound. I'm just gonna let it play. This is really.
Okay, we got an island. Still an island. He's looking for it. We got a street view from a passenger ship. Oh. Huh.
I think it was.
That is what it looked like.
I think it was.
It looks like a.
It had to have been
fake.
a promotional thing.
Yeah, it looks exactly like the one in the movie.
Yeah.
Like the one in the, not the most recent ones, but when they brought it back with what's his name from Breaking Bad as the dad in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like that Godzilla. Yeah.
I'm a sucker for this.
Cool
guys.
though.
I'm a sucker for it. Any hoots. Way off subject. Oh, what do we got left? We have. Okay, I've got a few sentences left, and then we'll get into some evidence here.
Okay.
The following days, Dr. John Mack, a renowned psychiatrist from Harvard University, and other investigators arrived to interview the children and document their experiences. The children's accounts remain consistent and detailed across multiple interviews.
Based on dude's notes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he compared with what the headmaster collected with a Harvard University psychiatrist.
Oh.
And everything stayed consistent with these kids, which is hard to get out of kids, by the way.
Right. Unless it was super impactful for some reason.
Let's look at some pictures. Okay, so bear with me.
Okay.
These are literally children's drawings. You want to go ahead and describe this for our Spotify listeners, sir?
So, I'm sort of seeing. I mean, it's a dome shape. It kind of looks like Patrick's house from SpongeBob.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
Complete with his bamboo antenna, which always confused me, by the way. But it's got windows in the front on one side on I guess my left, and they look like the front windows on an Airstream, basically. It's got two little tiny landing gear way out at the corners, and it's got a little door That's the top of the door starts below the lowest part of the front. We're gonna call it the windshield, and then we have some grass, I'm assuming, and we've got a pretty classic gray, in a like a high-necked jumpsuit, black, and the craft is black.
I wonder what this means. The colors.
I was assuming that was grass or like the tree or the brush.
Because it fades from like red to orange, yellowish, like fire almost.
Yeah, I mean that's also possible. It's interesting that the kids reported the aliens standing in different places, because they're not the only ones to do that. There's other reports where two people are standing there and say they saw the same thing, but they both disagree with each other about exactly like the exact position of objects.
Yeah.
Right? Like the ship in relation to the guys, in relation to whatever they were doing. They both agree that they both saw it. Like they agree with each other at the time, but he's like, no, it was standing whatever. He's like, no, it was right there, and they disagree. And I wonder if you follow the theory that all these UAPs are not, rather than traveling across the galaxy. So it's interesting that they say they reported seeing them in different places, and they disagree about the exact layout of where guys were standing, where the ship was, etc.
Right.
Because if you follow the theory of some, that UAPs, rather than being something that traveled interstellar, right, like from an actual other galaxy to our galaxy, given at least our understanding of the constraints of physics, no matter what you do, the problems with that. There's another popular theory as well that it's not that, they're just phase shifting, either out from another reality, and that's really what this ship does, hence why they can travel and move the way they do, because they're not propelled maybe necessarily by a propellant, but they're propelled by actually phase shifting from a place to a place, right? So it would make sense that if these things are phase shifting, right, it may not appear the same to every observer unless you're standing in exactly the same spot.
Right.
Right. So like if you're slightly over here, them phase shifting here, because they're not completely here, they're just sort of projected here.
Right.
That it wouldn't necessarily look consistent to everybody. You'd still see them. They're still there. And they're still there in a way that sort of makes sense. Like one's not just like, half in a tree, but hand gestures. One's not just like half in a tree. They're actually there, but that because it's a sort of interference pattern that they're making to cross through, that it would sort of appear differently. Kind of like a mirage looks different if you step 30 feet that way. Right. They're substantial, but the way it's transported is much like instead of a trick of light, it's a trick of matter and energy. Right.
I'm with you.
So I find that interesting that everybody reported it slightly different.
Well, let's look at another one. We have.
Yeah,
let's
see some more.
We have 3.
Oh, okay. So this one, written on it, says it was silver shining, and I assume they mean the craft. And it was oval shaped. This one has very long landing gear, long spindly landing gear, and a long rampway coming down from a door that's in the very center of the craft. And this is more like your classical, like toroid donut.
Yeah.
Saucer, no cap on top or anything like that. It's just it's a frisbee. It's a disc. Whereas the last one was, like I said, more like a dome with a flat bottom and short little legs. But those details may be the artist, not the account.
Right.
It's hard to say. This one doesn't have any color either, so I don't even know whether the color matters in the last one.
All right. Well, let's flip over to our last. This one's a little bit better.
This one's actually really good. So this one is another toroid donut shaped one with a dome on top in the middle. Very classic UAP UFO thing, except it's got trees in front of it. 2 trees, and there's the line of trees, kind of like they just are the only trees that are in that area from the map we saw. It's got 2 little angled landing gear, more like classic accounts or rewrites are like encounters,
Yeah.
close encounters kind of thing, with a shape that I'm gonna guess is supposed to be the alien.
Yeah.
But there's no face. It's just all black. It's all black and it's little. And there's little either windows. They look like port windows running around the bottom edge of the saucer. And the whole thing is very rounded. Like there's no edges to the saucer. It's like I said, it's like a donut. They may be lights. I don't know, but they look like, since people reported seeing them inside the windows of the craft, I'm gonna assume those are supposed to be windows. But that's very different from the first one.
But I will say
sure.
the three are similar to each other.
Yeah, they are. They all have spindly legs that the thing's sitting on. They all have a rounded saucer-like shape. And this person seems like, to me, someone who either draws more or draws things that they see more often than, like, say, the first one.
Yeah.
The first one was like, have you seen the meme where the guy, the graphic artist or graphic designer has taken all of his children's drawings of animals
And makes them into
and then
real animals.
Yeah, makes them into real animals. The first one is like, it's like the dolphin, where like the fins are all on the same side and like, the head's a box. It's like same age group.
Yeah.
Same age group.
Okay, so we're gonna run this clip. This is from BBC. To give full credit to BBC. It was recorded and interviewed by BBC, but it was aired locally in 1994. If you want to holler and stop some stuff at any point in time, just give me a shout and we'll pause and talk about some things. Let me go ahead and get this queued up.
We were playing down over there.
Okay. This will give you an idea, kind of like the demographic. Unfortunately, we do have German subtitles. So
Right.
here you go.
Well, there's
German.
English subtitles over top of that. So there were some that started up at the beginning. But yeah. So the demographic, there's like 4 black children and like 15 or so white children.
Yeah.
Boys and girls.
It's a uniformed school. These kids are wearing uniforms. So
They're all wearing Gilligan hats.
Yeah, strange choice of uniform, but okay, I get it.
They all look like they're at the Steve Irwin's School for Zoology right now.
All right, here we go. If you can't hear it, just give me a shout. I'll let you, and I'll turn it up.
On the log.
Yeah?
And then we saw something shiny, so we all ran down over there.
And it was in the early morning?
It was at break time.
Yeah?
And then we saw something shiny. And we saw two people. They were in tight black suit. And they had big eyes. And we didn't actually see their nose. It was quite small. And their mouth was quite small as well. One of them was running in slow motion up across the ship. And the other one was standing beside the ship.
Yeah,
Oh, you see the picture she's holding?
Yeah.
Oh, look at the alien face.
Oh, dang. So that's interesting. She says that one of them appeared to be running in slow motion across the top of the ship. So that plays again into what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like shifting in and
About-
out.
Right, shifting in and out. Like this almost like, because if you were gonna, I mean, again, not like I've phase shifted matter and energy somewhere, but I have to imagine that when you're messing with, I mean, not empirically. Not empirically. Anyway, we used to phase shift matter all the time here in my hometown. I'm just saying.
This girl in the background is shifting matter as we speak. Look at this.
Right.
I'm sorry, girl.
So I gotta imagine when you're, if you're changing the dynamics of physics that much, right? Because to move, energy, matter, and time are all integrally linked.
Yeah.
So if you're messing with, where something physically is across space without traveling between, I have to think there's going to be some weirdness with perception of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point, man.
Almost like maybe they didn't intend to be here. Almost like it was a wrong number.
Yeah.
They punched, like a wrong dial, and they were like trying to, or the ship shifted while they weren't in it. I mean, it's very interesting that she says that they were running in slow motion to me.
And I want to point out, look how sincere this girl is.
Oh yeah, and none of the other kids are like laughing or snickering. Like they are like, look, lady, like they all have very serious child faces on.
Yes, it's a strange face for a child to have. Let's get back into it.
Yeah, you made a drawing, huh? It looks like this?
No,
Oh, there you go. Oh.
Okay. So, definitely a sort of gray alien head. I mean, the eyes are a little off the head.
He's got a butthole mouth.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and his mouth looks like a starfish.
Okay. Are you familiar with the Fire in the Sky story?
No,
Have you seen the movie Fire in the Sky?
I don't think so.
Hey Google, what year did Fire in the Sky come out? 1993. Interesting. The year before. So the aliens, the way they're represented in Fire in the Sky, have this same mouth.
Oh, the butt pucker mouth.
Ooh, yeah. Because
it looks like when a cat wants your attention but doesn't want to look at you. This is what they present you with. Tonight I will be presenting my bottom at dinner. Like that. That's exactly what it looks like. Yeah. Also, it's the same mouth that the bad E.T. movie. It wasn't E.T., but it was like
the
Mac and Me. Yeah, Mac and Me. That's
the
all their
wheelchair-
mouths were like that.
The wheelchair.
Yeah,
scene.
the kid in the wheelchair. Yeah, kid in the wheelchair, and all the aliens had the little. They made a whistling noise to like communicate, but they all had the like extended fish butt pucker like mouth thing going on.
I actually.
And the googly eyes and floppy the ears that just stuck straight out to the
flutes.
side. Yeah, and the yeah.
There was
Mac and Me.
So,
God damn,
so the
worst-
scene
worst
from
shit
Mac
ever.
and Me where a kid in the wheelchair goes flying off the cliff.
Yeah.
I actually have that video saved on my computer from when I was streaming. It was a redemption that people could redeem points, and that video would take over the screen. So I would be playing video games, and then cut to the scene of Mac and Me. Wheelchair go flying, kid with a wheelchair go flying off a cliff, and then here comes. Yeah, it was a wild fucking movie, man.
God.
Carrying on.
yeah, something like that. I couldn't see the eyes or the nose or the mouth. It was just blank, like a piece of paper.
Well, when they came, I thought they were crazy.
Was that the first thing you thought?
I thought they were crazy just coming to our school just doing nothing. And all I saw was something like silver coming down, and I said, what must that be? And everybody's crowding it. I must go crowd too. And then I went and I started crowding, and everybody, then more people came and more. And then I said, hey, I can't see anymore. Come on, somebody, I'm short. Come on. And then I went to the front, and I started seeing more of them, and then I just ran away.
The day before the spaceship came, my friends and I, we were sitting in the playground, and one of my friends, her name Emily, she looked up into the sky and she said, oh, there's a UFO. She said, and I looked at it and she said, no, just kidding, it's an airplane. And we looked up and I thought to myself, that can't be an airplane because it was very shiny. It looked kind of like a cigarette, you know? It was a long thing, and then on the end it was all shiny. And so I said, maybe it is a UFO. So we were all kind of like getting scared now. And then the day that it happened, then we started thinking, yeah, there must have been a UFO in the sky. Because my brother also saw it, but he's left the school now.
It was sort of like a round shape, sort of like a plate, sort of like two plates that were sort of like on top of each other. Then there was sort of like the hole, the hatch for it, and there was sort of like in between two trees. but you couldn't see that clearly, and it was just silver all over. And it
That kid. That kid looks like he's seen some shit. Like,
Right? The last little boy that talked, I was like, you don't know. You're just joining because everybody else said they saw it. You didn't see nothing.
I do get that vibe from a couple of them, but like,
Yeah, but that kid seems like he's really trying to tell you, like
this kid. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the last little boy, I'm like, you didn't see nothing. You're just trying to cut up. You just want to be on camera.
Yeah.
Whatever. But yeah, he does. He seems like he's really trying to.
See, like these kids here in front were smiling and looking at each other. This one, he didn't smile once. Like, he's like, this is what I saw. Like the way he described it, 2 plates put together. That's how I would have described it if I were a kid.
I didn't see any men or something like that.
You saw one UFO?
Okay, here we go.
So his drawing is a lot like the third drawing that we showed.
With the row
where
of
it's
windows. Yeah.
Yeah, row of windows behind 2 trees, same. And with a dome on top and 2 little spindly angled landing gear.
Yeah.
Like that is exactly like the other drawing. I mean, there's a few details different, but I mean that if you showed me both of them, I'd be like, oh yeah, those kids saw the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, these are interesting. I like this.
It's also got a yellow submarine vibe going on.
Yeah, and the UFO's wearing a sombrero.
After he said that it was shiny and silver.
I guess that's a good way to show shiny.
Yeah, gold. Yeah.
That's surrounded by little ones?
Yeah, one big one spaceship.
Yeah.
With little ones around.
Yeah, let me see. Let me see your drawing. One big one.
One big ship and then small ones around it.
Okay, so we just got a rapid fire of like 3 different pictures, and they are all very similar.
Except this one. This one shows 3 ships.
Yeah.
But again, the saucer ship with the lights around the rim. And I guess the lines are for the shiny.
Yeah, they're consistent enough that I feel like these kids have seen the same thing. You know.
Yeah, and a door in the middle. I mean, they all share a lot of the same elements.
Definitely, and you know, they're kids. How well are they going to be able to draw? So this is compelling. I'm really enjoying this. This was a good idea to pull this video.
It with there were lights.
Yeah.
Surrounding the ship.
Like Sean's, huh? This is Sean's.
So that one is similar to the first picture.
Yeah, it's got the like beetle dome.
Yeah.
With little bitty short legs underneath it. Huh.
Drawing.
Yes. Yeah, basically.
Yeah. And okay, one landed, the big one landed, and the 2 aliens came out.
Yes.
And what happened with the little ones?
The little ones, they were just flowing around in the air. They didn't touch the ground. They didn't touch the ground.
And that, these made the silver lights?
Yeah. They were making different color lights, like green,
like
red,
they'd flash to green, then they'd go to blue,
and then purple.
Yeah, purple and red. But it was like it was going like each one to each one, but quickly.
Yeah, like they would go there and then it would vanish, and then it would go there and vanish, and then vanish.
Oh, really?
But going quickly.
That's a very, very particular way to describe something.
Well, and the one kid was even like recalling the order. Like, and he's looking at somebody else off screen like they were. He's like, oh yeah, and then purple, like they were.
Yeah.
Like the order was important, and they remembered it.
What I like is these 3 guys here in the tan telling the same details, but all 3 of them are talking over each other, giving the same details. So, so it's not like
and there's some of the older kids.
Yeah, it's not like they're feeding the details to each other. They're like, no, this is what happened, but all 3 of them are saying this is what happened at the same time.
Yeah.
Very compelling.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, and they're, like I said, they're definitely some of the oldest kids in the group.
Yeah.
As well.
Because if it was one ship moving to places.
Candace draw.
Oh, did you hear that?
Miller, come on.
He said it was as if it was one ship moving in multiple places. Again. the phase shifting thing, man. Yeah. Like it can't, like it's not quite there. It's there, but it's not there.
Let's go back here. What he said.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
They're going quickly, like as if it was one ship moving. Yeah. To places.
Oh.
Yeah. See what I mean? This seems like that sort of thing. The details. I mean, they all are remarking on things that obviously couldn't normally happen.
Right.
But and they don't seem to attach any significance to it. But everybody, the slowed time, the ship seeming like it's here, but it's over here, but it's here, but it's over there, and the guy, each person reporting the guys in different places. It just, I mean, makes me think of all the times that I phase shifted time. It was hard to tell where things were then too. It's like it was 1 minute it was over here, but like I could have sworn it was just there. But like, yeah.
Story of my life.
Yeah.
All right, we're about half through this thing. Let's go.
Okay.
Candace drawing.
Miller, come on.
Were they yellow?
No, I didn't have a silver crayon, so I did it.
Okay, so that answers the question with the yellow UFO.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, silver crayon's just called gray.
Yeah.
Yellow.
Unless you had the sweet box set.
So, but what happened? You came home and you told your parents.
Yeah, so there you could see the trees, very dense.
Mm-hmm.
Very fucking dense compared to
So
what
I guess
seeing on Google Maps.
My question then too, because I can't see the trunks of any of these trees.
They must have gotten much closer.
I guess, but I mean, none of them look like they go up and reveal trunks. But there's 3 pictures of the ship squarely behind the trunks of 2 trees.
I mean, there's.
I mean, this may not necessarily be the spot, but they're panning out to it like it is.
Right.
Some of them didn't believe us.
My mom didn't believe me.
Your mom didn't believe you?
My mom also. She didn't believe me.
Is that hard? Because if you see something and nobody believes you, what happens?
Yeah, you
feel
start
sad.
You start to You talk to your friends you start to think as if it wasn't true. Yeah. And people say to you, no, it wasn't true, so you think it wasn't true.
Then you think that you're mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And after that, you get all upset.
Yeah, and everyone starts teasing.
And my friends over the road, when I go there and I tell them about it, they just say, oh, he believes in aliens, oh, he's stupid.
You've seen too many movies.
Yeah.
Was there nobody in your neighborhood who believed you?
Yeah, my mom and dad believed me. My granny and my granddad believed me, but my uncle didn't.
Where the spaceship had landed, all the insects and ants and stuff like that were all dead, and there was a huge black mark there. And my mom said it might have just been a fire there, but I don't think there was. I think it was the alien ship.
Yeah, but you have gone to the place, of course, and have you seen anything?
No, we weren't allowed
An
there.
evidence, I mean, that it was there?
Some other people came to the school and they went out the boundary of the playground and they went to go and see what had happened there, and they saw that the grass was burnt and all the living things had died there in that area.
That's a new one to me. I haven't heard that.
Because you said there wasn't.
Yeah, there was no evidence found of anything there, but
officially.
These kids are great. I like these. This is a great video, man. Best piece of evidence we've had yet.
Him and his parents and his brother and sister all believed me. And my mother just believed me, but my dad didn't believe anything I said. Anything.
And did you describe it to them? Exactly what happened?
Yeah, and I drew it on a paper and I said, Daddy, this is what it looked like. And then he saw it well and he said, Michael, I think you're telling the truth now. And then that's all he said of it.
Say again.
This also is the kid that I do not believe. Seems like a shit starter.
Yeah, he's making shit up.
And that's all.
He's a kid throwing chalk at the teacher.
Who was scared? Not all of you, huh? Who was dreaming about it since then?
Yes.
In a bad way?
Bad way.
Yeah, in a bad way? No, tell me first in a bad way. Why? You have nightmares about it?
Yes, I used to, but then after about a year, I stopped dreaming about it. I dreamt that the same one I saw without hair, he came into my bedroom and he took me from my bed.
Did you dream that?
Yes.
Yeah?
And then I just screamed. I woke up and screamed.
That girl is scared.
Did she dream it?
Did she?
Did she?
Did she?
Did she?
Did she?
Did she?
Did she? She's scared though. Look at her face, man. This between the older kids and this girl, I am convinced.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a very earnest little girl.
Yeah. Yeah, at that age you can't really hide your facial expressions very well. Unlike this one back here fucking cheesing. I'm on TV.
Right, you notice the ones that aren't talking.
Yeah, those are the ones that are smiling.
Yeah. And didn't see shit. Didn't see shit.
I'm saying.
Well, she just kept on saying it was a nightmare. She didn't really believe me.
I wasn't scared a bit.
No, not at all.
Nothing. It was all fun.
Liar.
Still I do not.
I heard this lady on TV, I think it was Jill Dark, and she said this lady got kidnapped and she had babies that were aliens.
That's what you're afraid of.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the aliens came because they're curious like us, and well, they want to learn about us and we want to learn about them.
Some people say that people are saying that the aliens came to warn us something's going to happen, that something bad is going to happen to the earth.
I think they came here to try and warn us that the children that because we're young.
We've got a long time.
We've got a long time till we die. To warn us that when we're older, there's something going to happen to the earth.
Yeah, and not to pollute. Because we're young, we can still prevent it.
Yeah.
Do you still have all that feeling?
Yeah, those kids look very upset about all of this. Those older kids.
Yeah,
do.
but I mean, if they knew, why didn't they fix it?
Why aren't they fixing the earth? There should be. Yeah.
I need a where are they now, right now.
Right? Yeah. I would like some names.
Working on an oil rig.
Yeah. The one in the red
overseeing some indentured employees, like just being a total shit.
the lying kid. He is the current CEO of Philip Morris.
Yeah. Yep.
As a child, you can do a lot.
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah. Do you feel, as a child, privileged, or do you think, next time if the UFO is coming, please go to another school?
No, I feel privileged.
You feel privileged that you saw it?
I'd love them to come back and you could see them again. But only this time closer.
What do you want to say?
The only thing I want to know, when are we going to be on TV?
The liar.
Same
said that.
kid.
The liar.
Same kid.
That's
I
his
called
name.
it. I called it from the beginning. I don't believe a word he says.
Nope, I don't either.
Same kid. The rest, though, very credible. Him?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, we got
No.
10
No
seconds
chat.
left. I'm sure it's just 10 seconds of laughing.
Yeah.
All right. You are on TV.
We sent you the cassette.
Yep, 10 seconds of laughing. Called that one. So,
The cassette.
in conclusion, the Ariel School UFO incident remains one of the most compelling UFO sightings due to the large number of witnesses and the detailed, consistent accounts provided by the children. No definitive physical evidence was ever found, but the psychological and anecdotal evidence gathered has intrigued researchers and enthusiasts for decades. So, what do you think? Sir?
Oh, I mean, there's some weird stuff in it, but I'm sold. I think something certainly happened.
Yeah.
Only because this is how and I have some experience through Paul with it, but this is how they explain visitations here in or a lot of the past life regression stuff explains it, is that it's not, as long as we're continuing to think about, traveling to other worlds as a matter of physics, we're never going to get there. Right. Like as long as we keep thinking of it as getting from here to there, like in a path, we'll be forever locked out of actually reaching other inhabited worlds.
Right.
Because no matter what you do, even, let's say you accelerate near the speed of light, you have physical problems with your own stuff holding together as a living entity when you approach that. So they keep saying it's a matter of it's like, they talk about it like a blink. You blink and you're there, and it's like changing the channel is how they describe it. They're like, we could describe it in more detail, but we don't have words to tell you, because you don't have words in your language to understand the words that we would use.
Right.
But like, this is the best that we can do with it. And so, having heard that so many times from recordings and stuff from Dolores Cannon, her books, plug to Dolores Cannon. I don't think she's alive anymore. The concept of, it's more like a shift, and that detail coming out in so many varied ways from the kids, and them obviously not realizing or not saying it like it's any sort of important detail. Like they throw it in as afterthoughts, right, as a description of what they're seeing, but none of them seem to think that it correlates or, anything like that. I feel like that's very important.
Yeah.
For this. And even the little girl saying that there was a burnt spot and dead animals. I believe that she saw that.
Yeah.
Now I also believe that it's not in the general accounts, but I believe that she saw that. I guess I should go watch the Netflix thing, but I believe that, she even said some people came out and investigated it and said that there was a burnt patch and everything nearby was dead. I don't feel like she made that up. Also, she doesn't know who the guy. She just said the first people that came out and investigated it.
Right.
So, I think this is a legit story. I mean, I know all of this stuff's anecdotal and it's children and it's their drawings and their representations, but I feel, other than a few things on it that I'm like, it kind of makes me wonder. I'm more sold than not.
Me too. Yeah,
what do you think?
I have read a bunch about this. I've listened to a great number of podcasts about this. And this was the first time, that was my first time watching that video. I haven't seen that video until today, till just now.
Oh, so you didn't watch it when you downloaded it?
No, I jumped.
Oh, that's cool.
I jumped through to make sure it wasn't full of fluff.
That's cool.
And after seeing the faces of the kids, I'm sold.
I mean, I believe, you could make the argument that, they're covering up whatever, but I mean, they told people, they got ridiculed for it, and they still want to tell their story. Like that one kid that was talking about how his, people walking down the street make fun of him. Like, he doesn't have any incentive to then go be on TV about it.
Yeah.
And bring it up, because this is later, right? Like one of the kids said that her older sister saw it, but she's not at the school anymore. So this is later.
Yeah.
So what incentive would that older boy have to bring it up to get made fun of again? He's still in the school.
Yeah.
So, you could say like all these kids are making up, but if they were all going to make up a story, wouldn't it sort of be the exact same story?
Yeah.
Why the variance? It would be much harder to get, generally it's harder to get people to believe you when you're all telling slightly different stories, but the common thread in them is strong, I think.
Yeah, it's the fact that they're not all the same is good for me, because it's a group of kids that saw the same thing, but they're all interpreting it the way that they understood it.
Right.
And that's where the authenticity, I feel, comes from. So I'm gonna say this is real, man. I'm gonna say this motherfucker touchdown.
I think I think, yeah. I mean, obviously we don't know what it was, but something came. There were people, and these kids saw it, and it was not explainable by not in that quick of a period of time by something that you can easily point to here that we know of.
Right.
So yeah, I like it. This is a good one. I like this. This is a good one.
I've listened to my fair share of podcasts about this, but doing the investigation myself and really, I was gonna say putting my hands on I didn't put my hands on shit. I put my hands on a keyboard. Putting my eyes on something in front of me, seeing that video. Damn, that interview was great. I'm sold. This happened. This has had to have. I'm gonna say UFOs were here, man. Gotta be.
It's funny. It's funny too that you mentioned how like the differences of their stories make it seem more believable. That is it. It weirdly does, and I don't know if it's because there's a bunch of reinforcing small facets. Right, like the counselor writing down his own preliminary interviews with all the kids, right, and getting them to draw the stuff.
Yeah.
And then the stories being the same later when some notable researchers come from the United States, and then again they want to show the drawings and repeat it again in an interview, and it's something about it. I guess it's the small reinforcements within each of their experiences and the sort of the situation itself that lends, I think, a bunch of credibility. Because I gotta be honest, if I was gonna make a UFO hoax, I think I'd way overthink it.
Yeah, me too.
And my details would be better.
Yeah.
I'd way overthink it. And it seems like kids that got caught way by surprise by a thing they can't process. And then, them being honest and talking about how they had nightmares, and that one little girl being like how she had nightmares that they came and got her again. I think that little girl got abducted again. I'm just based on no evidence.
Yeah.
I feel like she's like, no, it was just a bad dream. But kind of coincidental, since there was no abduction stuff going on in this particular encounter, for her to jump to the nightmares being them coming into her room and getting her at night.
Yeah.
Dude.
Boop. Picked her up.
Plus, there's so many people's accounts of like getting taken from their bedroom.
Oh yeah.
As far as abduction stuff, getting taken, up through the ceiling, or people came in and carried her out, but like everybody else in the house stayed asleep. Like there's so many of those. It makes me scared for that little girl.
I know. Yeah,
she seems fine though. She seems fine.
I really would like to do like a "Where Are They Now" thing, but I'm sure. They were minors. I'm sure their names weren't actually recorded.
No, some of their name, like their first name and last initial, were on.
Brian,
like this one,
Brian Robbins.
Brian, yeah. So some of them are, but that doesn't help you find them. But yeah, I would be interested. I would be interested to find out if any of them had later encounters.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm sure they had.
Like an alien census. They come back and check on them ever so often, and I would also like to find out what their adult perspective was. I know, years tend to fill in stuff that maybe you did or didn't see.
Yeah.
But for traumatic and unexpected events like this, there is, besides, on the one hand, the brain does tend to want to fill in things where there's gaps.
Yeah.
It wants to make cohesion. But recovered memories are also a real thing. People in trauma, you tend to actually record all of it. But generally, because of the impact of the situation, a lot of it just gets clipped out down to what you can process at the moment. Yeah. So, recovered memories, are a thing. So I'd be interested to see what their adult perspective on it was.
Yeah, me too. Maybe.
Or how it impacted their life.
Maybe we could do a follow-up episode if I can find anything.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they didn't have a group still, but
maybe worth looking into.
Yeah. Yeah.
But hey, chalk that up for a win. We've got one.
Yeah. A live one. We got a live one.
We got a live one. It was a good.
That was a good find. It was a good find, Victus.
It was.
I like that.
It's so documented, man.
We needed a good one because some of the ones already even that we've done, and this will be the case for a vast number of them. But they like the Jersey Devil, just so bad.
Yeah.
So the details are so bad.
Yeah.
So bad, and it's so popular.
And I think we're going to run into that a lot, unfortunately. But that's why we do what we do. We wade through this filth so y'all don't have to.
Right, and the bogus ones are fun too in their own way. But I really do want to believe, and I really wanted a UFO story that makes me go, "Oh, yes, exactly."
I want to believe.
Exactly. I just need a skinny tie and a nondescript black suit and bad shoes.
Okay,
cheap shoes, nice suit.
I'm gonna pull up our stuff. Hold on, because I always misread.
All of our info and places and
Yes,
things, and where you can see all the fun and hear all the stuff and watch all the antics.
All the antics. So if y'all want to reach out to us, have an idea for an episode, or you want to just tell us how bad we are, reach out to us at beyondshadowspodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram at Beyond Shadows Podcast and on Facebook, Beyond Shadows Podcast. Also here on YouTube. For those listening on Spotify, we are on YouTube, Beyond the Shadows Podcast. Look for our logo. It is the where'd it go? It is this. This is our logo. Up here.
It's on everything everywhere.
Everything everywhere. Also, if you keep up with us on Facebook, you'll see that's where most of our updates are made. So, social media, find us. It's the easiest way to keep track of what we're doing. I'm going to start uploading video every week to Spotify.
Oh, that'll be good.
So that way, because I know a lot of people just don't want to go to YouTube or don't want to jump from Spotify to YouTube to see what we're talking about. So I figured it's just better in the end to probably just go ahead and upload video to YouTube, to Spotify. So we're going to start doing that from here on out. And comments are live on Spotify. That's a new feature that it just launched last week. So if you guys want to comment on any of the episodes, feel free to. Also,
leave a comment, because we are terrible.
We are terrible.
Terribly handsome, charming, funny, and wonderful. So please just let us know all those things.
Yes.
We need reinforcement.
Yes. And, next week is Rapid Fire.
Oh, yeah. Rapid Fire. Our most popular YouTube episode yet. Full-length episode.
Oh,
man, the Rapid Fires are fun.
Yeah, Rapid Fires are great. So we're going to shoot for another 15, 20. I think we're going to try to get more UFO stuff this week or this month.
Let's do UFOs. There's a bunch of good and bad.
So
UFO stuff.
So keep shooting me the ones that you find.
Oh yeah, I will.
And I got to find a way to download those ones, and I will start digging through the TikTok and finding those videos as well. I can't think of anything else. You got anything you want to say?
No, man. I'm just so happy to be here.
Next week, our episode may drop on a different day. So usually we do this on Thursday nights, and by Friday we have the episodes uploaded. Next week might be different. I do have a new job, so scheduling is going to change just a little bit. So we might be earlier in the week, we might be later in the week. We just got to figure out what works for us. But we will still continue to put out an episode every week. So bear with us in this transition.
Well, you want to take us out?
I guess so. So again, if y'all want to reach out to us, beyondshadowspodcast@gmail.com. Let us know how great or how horrible we are. Just make sure that everybody follows us.
Beyond the Shadows.
Beyond the Shadows.
Good night. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming, everybody. See you later. See you.
Drinks all around.
A creature like that, how would it ever die?
And this monster starts running right at me.
Annihilated by nuclear bombs.
Beast is not dead. I put 4 bullets into him.
Oh, you're crazy.
But I saw that monster too. All I want is for someone to believe me.
Contaminated.
Face. Horrible. Look like it would scare you to death.
All right, let's get to work.
Feel the shadows.